When your girlfriend laughs at your pain, it changes something in you. Not anger, not sadness, just a switch. The moment when you realize the person you trusted most is more entertained by your breaking than your being. That night, she looked me in the eye, smirked, and said, "God, Ethan, you're so dramatic." And I remember thinking, no, I'm not dramatic. I'm just finally seeing you without the illusion. This isn't a story about heartbreak. It's about what happens when someone gaslights you for so long. They forget silence can burn louder than any scream. My name's Ethan Gray, 31. Graphic designer living in Chicago's South Loop. The kind of neighborhood where you can hear the trains at night and pretend they're carrying away all the things you don't want to feel. She was Lena, 28, social media manager. Confident in that way people are when they've never truly been told no. We met during a campaign project, me designing visuals, her writing copy. She wore confidence like armor, and I mistook it for authenticity. At first, everything was electric. She'd send me random photos in the middle of the night, her city lights, her coffee, her face half asleep, with captions like, "Can't sleep thinking of you." It felt real. Maybe that's why I didn't notice the cracks when they started forming. The first time she mocked me was subtle. We were at dinner with her friends, and someone asked how we met. I said we clicked instantly. She laughed too loud and said, "Yeah, Ethan basically fell in love after one email." "He's such a romantic," everyone laughed. I smiled too, pretending it didn't sting. But it did. Little moments followed. Jokes about how I took things too seriously, how I was too sensitive, how I needed to chill. I told myself it was just her humor, sharp, unfiltered. But sharp humor, when aimed at the same target long enough, becomes a knife. Then came the jokes that weren't really jokes. One night, I found a photo on her phone, her and her co-worker Adam at a bar. He had his arm around her, both laughing like they'd known each other for years. When I asked, she rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, Ethan, are you jealous again? You really need to relax." I wasn't shouting. I wasn't accusing. I just said, "You told me you were working late." She laughed. "Short, cruel. You're cute when you're paranoid." That's how gaslighting works. It doesn't start with lies. It starts with laughter, with the slow erosion of your confidence until you start apologizing for feeling anything at all. Over time, I stopped asking questions, not because I trusted her, but because I didn't trust myself anymore. Then, one night in December, she came home late again, perfume stronger than usual, makeup smudged but smile intact. She dropped her purse, kicked off her heels, and said, "You're quiet. What's wrong now?" I showed her a message on my phone. A friend from her company had texted me anonymously. "You should probably know Lena's been seeing Adam outside work." Everyone knows. "Sorry, man." Her eyes flicked to the screen, then back to me. No guilt, no panic, just annoyance. "You believe gossip now? Seriously, Ethan?" "I'm just asking if it's true." She smiled, small, deliberate. "You're so dramatic. Not everything is about you." That word, dramatic, landed like a slap I wasn't allowed to react to. She walked past me, poured herself a glass of wine, and added, "God, you make everything so heavy." It's exhausting. I wanted to say something, anything, but instead I just stood there. And in that moment I realized she didn't respect me enough to even lie convincingly. She called me dramatic for caring, overreacting for noticing, insecure for seeing the truth. That night I didn't confront her again. I just stared out the window, the city glowing beneath the fog, and whispered to myself, if she can make me doubt what I see, maybe it's time she sees what I can do in silence. Because when someone calls you dramatic for bleeding, the calmest revenge is to let them watch you heal without them. 3 days after she called me dramatic, Lena was all smiles again, like nothing had happened. She texted me pictures of her lunch, a random meme, a miss you message with a heart. Gaslighters are artists. They paint over the cracks with affection just long enough for you to question your sanity. That Friday, she invited me to a work event at a rooftop bar downtown. I went. Part of me hoped I was wrong about her. The other part just wanted to see the truth up close. The night was loud, music, laughter, too many people pretending to be interesting. Lena was in her element. Bright red dress, perfect hair, surrounded by co-workers. When I walked up, she smiled like a politician shaking hands. "You made it," she said, brushing my arm. "Try not to overthink tonight, okay?" That should have been my cue to leave, but I stayed. Halfway through, I went to grab a drink and overheard two guys from her team talking near the bar. Man, Adam's bold. Lena's boyfriend's right there. He doesn't even know, bro. She says he's too sensitive to notice. They laughed. I didn't. I turned around and saw Lena across the room laughing with Adam, his hand on her back exactly where mine used to be. She caught me looking, raised her glass, and mouthed something I'll never forget. Relax. That single word, relax, was her favorite weapon. Her way of making me look crazy for noticing the obvious. I left early. Didn't make a scene. Didn't text her. But later that night, when I checked my phone, I saw she'd posted a photo from the event. Her arm around Adam, both smiling, captioned, "Work Husband Appreciation Night." Calm down, Ethan. That hashtag. It was a joke. A public mockery dressed as humor. Within minutes, her co-workers started liking it. The comments poured in, laughing emojis, inside jokes. People tagging me like I was in on it. I wasn't. For the first time, I realized she didn't just want to gaslight me. She wanted an audience, so I gave her one. The next morning, I logged into the shared drive from our old project, the campaign I'd designed and she'd presented as her own. Every file, every asset, every contract still had my signature embedded in the metadata. She'd used my work under her name. I didn't need revenge. I needed truth. So I compiled everything. Screenshots of her posts, proof of copyright ownership, her presentation deck with my design ID. Then I sent one simple, polite email to her company's marketing director. "Hi, I'm reaching out to clarify an issue regarding intellectual property used in your recent campaign presented by Lena M. All design assets were created by me and licensed under my personal copyright. Please find attached documentation for your review. No accusations, no emotion. Just truth." Within hours, I got a reply. "Thank you, Ethan. We'll investigate immediately." That evening, Lena called. "What did you do?" Her voice wasn't calm anymore. It was brittle. "They pulled me from the project. My boss said there's a copyright issue." "Did you seriously just email them?" I didn't answer right away. I just said, "You told everyone I was overreacting. I figured I'd let the facts speak for themselves." She exhaled sharply. "You're so petty. You just can't handle a joke, can you?" "A joke?" I laughed quietly this time. "Humiliation isn't a joke, Lena. It's a mirror." "You just didn't like what it showed." She went silent. Then colder. "You'll regret this." Click, call ended. 2 days later, her Instagram went private. A mutual friend texted me, "Dude, what happened?" "Lena's freaking out." Apparently, her company froze her campaign. "HR's involved." I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Silence was already speaking for me. That night, I opened her old post again, the one with the hashtag "But Calm Down, Ethan." The likes had started to disappear. One by one, people untagged themselves, deleted their comments. The same audience that once laughed at me was now pretending they'd never seen it. Funny thing about public humiliation, it turns fast. The crowd always switches sides when the truth shows up. I didn't gloat. I didn't post. I just sat on my balcony, watching the city lights blink like Morse code, and whispered, "You told me I was overreacting. Now the truth is overreacting for me." Because sometimes silence doesn't just expose lies, it lets them echo until everyone else hears what you were trying to say all along. After that night, I stopped talking. No posts, no explanations, no defending myself. When someone spends months twisting your words, the most powerful thing you can do is stop giving them any. Silence became my weapon, and it worked faster than I expected. A week passed. I didn't text Lena, didn't check her socials, didn't even open her messages. But people talk, especially the same people who used to laugh. First came the whispers. Her co-workers noticed her name missing from the company's campaign site. The project credits had been quietly updated. Design Ethan Gray. Then came the speculation. Why did she lose it? What did she do? The same ones who'd liked her Sorge Calm Down Ethan post were now deleting their tags and sending me DMs like, "Hey man, just wanted to say I never believed that stuff she said about you." I didn't reply. I didn't need to, because once truth starts walking, it doesn't stop to argue. 3 days later, Lena called again. "Ethan, please." "I don't know what to do. HR's threatening disciplinary action. They're saying I violated copyright." Her voice was softer this time, no edge left. "You know I didn't mean to take credit. I was under pressure." I thought it wouldn't matter. It mattered, I said quietly. You made me doubt myself for months. You mocked me for noticing. That's not pressure, Lena, that's cruelty. She sniffled on the other end. You're enjoying this, aren't you? No, I said. I'm relieved. There's a difference. Then I hung up. The silence that followed was different, cleaner. It wasn't the silence of confusion anymore. It was peace earned through restraint. Still, she didn't stop. 2 days later, she posted something cryptic on her private Instagram. Some people can't handle strong women, so they try to destroy them. I didn't respond. Because every time she played the victim, it just reminded everyone who the real one was, Maya. A mutual friend texted me soon after. Ethan, I don't know what's happening, but Lena's spiraling. She's crying at work, says you ruined her life. I typed, no, I just stopped letting her ruin mine. Then I deleted it before sending. Silence felt better. By the end of the month, the truth had done its job. The company terminated her contract. Apparently, the marketing director was furious when he discovered her plagiarism extended beyond my designs. She'd reused assets from another freelance artist too. It was never about me, it was her pattern. Gaslighters rarely change their methods. They just switch victims. That night, I got one last email from her. Subject line, you win. The body read, I lost everything. Are you happy now? I hope your silence was worth it. I stared at those words for a long time, because she still didn't understand. Silence isn't about winning. It's about refusing to play. So I printed that email, folded it once, and slipped it into a drawer. Not as a trophy, but as a reminder. That piece has a price, and I'd already paid it. Weeks later, I ran into Adam at a coffee shop. He looked tired, pale, and awkwardly tried to smile. Hey man, he said, scratching the back of his neck. I didn't know how bad things got. She told me you were controlling. I nodded. Yeah, that's what she does, calls people crazy until she makes them act sane. He looked down, ashamed. Guess I learned that the hard way. She's been calling me non-stop since HR fired her. I blocked her last week. I just said, take care of yourself, and I meant it. Because revenge wasn't about him or even her. It was about me not needing to explain anymore. That night I went home and poured myself a drink. Chicago was quiet, a soft hum beneath the city lights. I sat on the balcony, thinking about all the times I'd apologized just to keep the peace. All the times she called me dramatic for feeling anything at all. And I whispered, half to myself. Funny how silence makes you louder once they can't talk over you anymore. Then I raised my glass toward the skyline. Not to toast her downfall, but my recovery. Because when a manipulator loses their audience, the only sound left is their own echo. And that's a punishment silence delivers better than I ever could. Winter dragged itself out of Chicago slowly that year. By March, the snow had melted into grey puddles along the streets, and the train sounded softer somehow, less like noise, more like memory. I'd moved to a new apartment near the lake. Smaller, quieter, just enough space for me and the silence I'd earned. Work had picked up again. I was leading my own projects now, clients who actually knew my name, not hers. It felt deserved, not because I wanted revenge, but because I'd finally stopped giving away credit to people who only took. Sometimes, late at night, I'd scroll back through old messages, just to remind myself how subtle cruelty can look when it's wrapped in affection. Relax, you're overreacting. God, Ethan, you're so dramatic. Each phrase once felt like a leash. Now they were just noise. I deleted them all. A few weeks later, I ran into Maya again. She looked awkward, holding a coffee cup like a peace offering. Hey, she said softly, I just wanted you to know, Lena moved out of Chicago. Oregon, I think. She's been quiet, different. I nodded. Good for her. Maya hesitated. She said she finally understands what she did, that you didn't try to ruin her. You just stopped covering for her. I didn't say anything. Some truths don't need witnesses. Before she left, Maya added, she told me she misses the way you used to listen, said no one's ever been that calm with her since. That stung a little, not out of love, but recognition. Because that's what gaslighters do. They teach you to be calm while they burn everything around you. And once you leave, they start missing the quiet they destroyed. One rainy evening, I got an email from an unknown address. Subject line, no hard feelings. It was from Lena. Short, just a few lines. I heard you're doing well. I'm glad. I've been in therapy. Trying to be better. You didn't deserve how I treated you. I hope you find someone who sees you the way I didn't. I read it twice, waiting for the anger to rise. It didn't. I just typed back one line. I already have myself. Then I hit send and felt the weight of every apology I'd ever forced myself to give finally lift. Spring came. I started biking to work again, feeling wind instead of tension in my chest. The city didn't change, but my perspective did. Everything that once reminded me of her now just reminded me of how far I'd come. One Saturday, I stopped by the same rooftop bar where it all began. A different crowd, new laughter, same skyline. I stood there for a minute, thinking about that night, the red dress, the hashtag, the humiliation. And then I smiled, because none of it hurt anymore. Before leaving, I pulled out my phone, opened Instagram, and posted a photo of the skyline at dusk. Caption: "Turns out peace isn't silence, it's understanding who deserves your words." No tags, no hashtags, no explanation. Just stillness. Later that night, sitting by the lake, I opened my notes app and wrote, "They said I was overreacting. But maybe that's just what healing looks like to the people who broke you." Saved it. Locked my phone, exhaled. The water shimmered under the city lights, calm and endless. And for the first time, I didn't feel small standing next to it. I just felt free, because silence isn't weakness. It's clarity. And for once, I didn't need anyone to understand that but me.